you're also both teaching. Do you both maintain that teaching schedule? Is it still important for you to be involved with academia while you're practicing?
We teach about once every 3 semesters, and we really, really enjoy it. Of course, people always say you learn as much from your students as they learn from you. I think we bring a sense of how a practice runs when we teach people. We're not really great teachers the way people who teach all the time are, but what we do is we bring a sense of how we work in the office and how projects get developed. And so in that way, I think it connects students to how practice actually happens. And as well, I think we hope that our studio is a place to learn all the time as well.
And you think of your office more as a studio. Like, I think of this award, I think of it being given to a big firm or something like that, and your firm is what, 20 to 30 people probably, right, consistently, and it's almost more of a studio atmosphere, right? How do you foster that?
It's interesting in that video, if anyone saw it, it was wonderful. We have a part-time bookkeeper, he was in the video. We have a full-time sort of set right and left hand, she was in the video. But every single person in the studio was in the video, and it was really very, very touching. Billie and I hadn't seen it. No, when I come to work, I want to feel like I want to be there, and I want people to want to be there, and I want our desks to be mixed with the other desks, because if we make mistakes, I want people to see those mistakes. If we have successes, I want them to feel those successes. I don't want to bury my mistakes or try to hide them, nor do I, of course, we don't want to also flash our successes. We actually want to make sure they're integrated. So you talked about teaching. Honestly, I think we're not teachers. We love teaching, but our commitment is to the studio and to the work. And the teaching really becomes a way by which we can articulate ideas, and we are exposed to young minds and also other real teachers, great teachers. So we go back to school when we teach.
So I'm curious in terms of how you set up your office and projects. So you have a new project. Is it that, Todd, you run a project and Billie runs a project, or is it much more?
No,
we're always together. So it's like, and we come to each project because we're very different kinds of people in a very different way. But like anybody with whom you've had a long relationship with, there are these sort of tangled skeins of agreement underneath the earth. So you're sort of these two separate trees, but you know, you have confidence in each other that in the end, those tanglements that maybe people don't see so much will help you find something that feels both authentically coming from you and coming from Todd. And then of course with the other people in our studio, they are such an important part. So it is really about being a family. I mean, that family part for us is extremely important. When we started out, it was as if they were all our friends, and then they became, then slowly over time, of course, we're becoming very parental. So they're sort of, at some point, I suppose, we'll be grandparental by the...
I'm already there. Another thing is that when we take on a project, we absolutely will not separate what Billie does from what I do. We are very different. We bring different things, but so I actually don't know what my work is unless we go back to the time before I met Billie. It wasn't that good.
But how are you different? What would you say the big difference is? Obviously it works, but...
Yeah. Well, we've tried to answer this 1,000 times. Certainly Billie is more reflective as a person. I'm more aggressive. Stumbling forward, charging forward, digging into things, and so often finding myself wrong when Billie reflectively sort of sits back and maybe doesn't say anything. It allows me to walk into that perfect trap. Well, no,
the Asian way.
That's right.
But I also say we always work with another person in the studio. So when we start a project, we have to have a person working with us from beginning to end, so that they understand and are really part of the mix. And we tell that to the client. We have to make sure that the client and we want to work together. They want to work with us. They want to work in this particular way. Otherwise, so that's why we're not the right architects for probably most people. And we're thrilled when someone else says you're not the right architect. As long as we have the work. Because why get into a crappy relationship? It's better to get into a good one.